Selective mutism is a syndrome or whatever it is that Greta Thunberg has. So it allows her then to choose when she doesn't answer questions instead of selective mutism. Otherwise, she's not got mutism where it means she's got a brain fog. It's just she's able to select out what she doesn't want to get involved with, like any questions that in questions her and finds out if she has any knowledge about the world whatsoever. And obviously she's being programmed by her father, who said, "Oh, we'll have a little jolly joke about the world and say, what have we got? Don't answer any questions and say you've got selective mutism." And that's the big con the whole thing is. But the thing is, if you look at it, even Al Gore has got selective mutism, and even all the IPCC, everyone involved in the scandal, which is this thing about climate change, whether climate change is happening or not, is two totally different matters to the politics involved. The politics of climate change and the science that says it's changing, whether that we agree or not with that, is a totally different matter to what's happening in regard to climate change. And this is where they've all got selective mutism, right? And that's why Greta Thunberg was chosen to represent them by the UN, because the UN's got selective mutism on this subject. It's not saying, all right, the climate's changing, let's all agree. You can't argue with this lunacy. And the Chinese aren't arguing, and OPEC's not arguing. They're just carrying on as normal. They're not arguing with anyone. Yes, we're not in agreement at UN, and we'll carry on as normal, as we always do. But in the West, where we're under attack for speaking freely on any subject these days because of this political correctness, and we are under attack. People can be sacked for quoting the Bible in Australia. So, Christians are under attack in Australia for speaking about the things they believe in. But you can believe in climate change, that you're sort of involved in somehow stopping it, and no one says anything to you. And if you ask anyone any questions, well, what about China? Ask anyone Extinction Rebellion, or anyone Al Gore, or ask any of these people pushing this agenda. This is a financial agenda. It's a financial agenda. It's not a climatic agenda. It's not an agenda what does something about climate change. It's an agenda what does something about controlling populations, if it can, through politics, and controlling the financial means. In other words, getting very, very rich out of people being gullible enough to vote for politicians who say they're going to do something about climate. Well, if the Western politicians had one bone of honesty in them, instead of them having selective mutism, and let's say they've all got selective mutism now, because if you say to them, well, what about China? They're increasing their CO2 as we speak, and OPEC are pumping more oil. Well, they go mute. They can't answer you. Rather than answer and tell you the truth that we don't give a damn, we're involved with making money out of all this. And somehow they've been, or whatever the reasons, politicals, they're saying there's a political reason to be doing this, and they've made the political reason up, in other words. But the point is that they've all got, and that's why Greta Thunberg was chosen, because she's got selective mutism, and therefore she's a leader of a cult of selective mutists. And that's what they become mutant when asked questions that we'd like to ask them, and them answer honestly. What about China? What about Pakistan going to mine all that coal? What about OPEC drilling all the oil, etc.? And yet, those questions are never raised anymore, other than on YouTube. Other than on YouTube, they're not raised in Parliament. They're not the spokesmen for the people, can no longer speak for the people, because all the Parliament, with a few exceptions, of course, have got selective mutism. And then you could say the biggest disease in the West at the moment is selective mutism, because they don't know that China is increasing its CO2 and said, well, we're just going to carry on anyway. Don't they know? They don't know that. It's an astonishing thing to stand there as an adult and say, oh, I don't know that China's going to use more and more oil and coal. And when you're exporting the stuff to them, you don't know they're using it. That's selective mutism, and it is how we run. Is the democracies of the world run by people or autistic? And this is the question. It's now a question of, we can't take them seriously anymore because they don't take running their job seriously anymore. They won't take the job seriously of being a politician and doing the best they can with what they have and under the auspices of whoever's guiding them. But other than that, we can't take them seriously. You can't take people seriously who can't acknowledge what 80% of the people already know full well, and that China's going to keep making CO2, pumping CO2. OPEC's going to keep pumping oil, and it's going to be a long, long time yet. Well, we'd all like electric car, but as they've shown in California, the futility of relying only on the energy systems that rely upon the weather to make them work, like California has had a big blackout because of a powerful wind event has closed all their wind generators down. So they were without power, and I think that's a big lesson for them. I mean, so you can't back up with coal fire because you've got to keep it running all the time. And because you keep it running all the time, it's an expensive thing to do. When you're having it on backup, it's got to be ticking away all the time. And they can't do that because we can't have coal. If you say coal, someone's going to attack you and laugh at you, regardless. China is continuing to use billions of tons of it, millions of tons of it, and Pakistan is mining it. And there's something wrong now in the West when the politicians have all got, or most of them seem to have, selective mutism. I mean, what a way to earn a living, huh? And can we all go to court and say, I don't know what you're talking about? Can we all go under oath in court and say, don't understand the question? Because that's what it gets down to in the end. I don't understand the question. You don't? No, I've got selective mutism. All right. Well, there you are, folks. There's your defence. Everyone's using defence in all the world now, in the Western world. Al Gore, everyone down involved with climate change, politics is using selective mutism. They've all got selective mutism. So it stands to reason that all of us have got selective mutism. When asked questions you don't want to answer, you go, oh, sorry, I'm autistic. I've got selective mutism. And that's it, folks. We've all got selective mutism now. The world leader, the new leader of the world, the spokesperson for the world, Greta Thunberg, has selective mutism, and we must all follow our leader. She's been chosen for us. My goodness gracious me. Thought, Jesus was going to come back as this bloke. No, Greta Thunberg. Well, there you go. We thought we were going to get Jesus returning. No, Greta Thunberg. Instead, with selective mutism. Yeah, you can't say too much about it, can you? It's really quite funny.